That's wrong.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Chris Schultz, Friday Night Victors.com. This is our weekly show to where we do our weekly picks. We're in week 4 already. As always, I am joined by Gary Hoff and Frank Vajner. Gary, how are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you.
How was the walleye down at Frank's? Pretty good?
It's good. Yeah, real good. Frank's Cafe, your neighborhood cafe.
Your neighborhood cafe. And Frank, how are you doing? You still got that RFK Jr. voice going on. What's up?
Well, still trying to power through it. Had to announce the teal attack at SMCC tonight, but I'm here.
All right, you're gonna have to give some those vocal cords a little bit of rest so you can be yourself.
I know I'll have to drink tea tomorrow.
Okay. All right. It sounds like you might be on Mars tonight, but that's okay. We'll take you as we get you coming in and out of the picture. So, all right. So let's talk about a couple of
Uh-oh, we
Frank's
lost him.
gone. That's okay. So we're gonna keep going.
He's back.
He might be back. Now he's sideways.
Oh my goodness. Hang on.
We're we're live, Frank. We're live.
We're taping live. There's
I know.
no redos in this show. One
No,
take. True professional.
true.
Sorry, fellas. I don't know what that was about, but hang on. I'm gonna try and adjust. Here we go. Here we go. That's better.
Hey, all right, Frank.
As we were.
Okay, so sorry folks. This is just what we do. So I suppose I could edit that out, but we won't. So good to have you back, Frank. Let's talk about some games from last week. A couple of the scores of note. We had Hudson beat the Ida Blue Streak 16-8. Not a surprise. I had gone with Ida there, and thinking back on it, I probably should have just picked Hudson because they were playing at home. I don't think they lose very often at home. Gary, any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I watched that game. It was a close game. I think Hudson outplayed Ida for most of the game, although there was only 3 touchdown scores entirely. But yeah, Hudson had a 4th and 4 and with like a minute to go and converted and down in their end or down in near the end zone. And they converted the 4th and 4 and eventually scored to go up 16-8. And Ida got the ball back with a minute left and couldn't do anything. So it went down to the very end, and you wouldn't expect anything less, really. Two good football teams, and I think it probably did come down to Thompson Field. Hudson went up week 1 up to Fowler and got beat pretty good. And I talked to some Fowler folks, and they may have been biased, but they said Hudson was never in the game. They never moved the ball. But they go, they beat Ida D6, by a touchdown. So I know, Chris, you don't think home and away matters all that much in high school, but I think in this case it might have a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a great win for Hudson. It gets them back in the picture as far as state rankings and home playoff games and stuff like that. So it was a big win for Hudson.
Frank, your thoughts on the game?
Well, look, I knew this one was going to be a war from the get-go because I've seen Hudson the last few years. I know Dan Rogers does an incredible job there as a head coach. He took over a few years ago for Chris Luma, who was a Hall of Famer. And I mean, to play Hudson, at their place and to beat them, you pretty much damn near have to play a perfect game. And I mean, Ida, they were in it. They tied it up late, but I mean, hats off to the Tigers. They were able to make plays down the stretch and win the game. I mean, as for the Ida folk, I'd say this is nothing to hang your head over. That's probably the toughest game you're going to have all year, aside from going to Clinton in week 9. So you're going to see how well you regroup going to play Hillsdale this week.
Hudson has 2 humongous tackles. Frank, you probably know their names, but just 2 humongous. They got to be 280, 290, 300 pounds. We know Ida has a very large tackle as well, but there's 3 monsters out there on the
Yeah, I
field.
mean, I'm not familiar with their linemen. I know that their backs. Beckett McCaskey and Brennan Marshall. Oh, they've been there for a while. They're very good in their own right. And of course, I'm trying to think of their other one. Name escapes me. They got running back depth up the wazoo over there in Hudson.
Okay. Hey, I think Dundee might have something to say about Ida having, maybe only one tough game left there. So with that, let's talk about them. Dundee 31, Onsted 34. Onsted was up. Dundee came roaring back, took the lead, and then Onsted kind of stole it from them. Frank, what do you know about that game?
Well, as I said in our thoughts, not yours. Special teams blunders will kill you more often than not. I mean, Onstead blocked a punt for a touchdown early. I mean, Dundee came storming back thanks to Joey Brink, who I think is a name we really need to keep an eye on for Player of the Year. Here he had a 4 touchdown game and had 2 bills on the ground.
Mhm.
But of course, Onstead, they return the ensuing kickoff after the Dundee takes the lead to the hizzy. And that was basically the game. And I mean, Onsted, I think, is a team that's frisky and fun this year. Of course, I'll really get a look at them this Friday when they play Hudson, and as I'm officiating that game. So, I mean, excuse me. I think I think the LCA is going to have to take notice. Say, you know what? This isn't the same Onsted that for the last few years has been a doormat in the conference. They're a lot better. I mean, I mentioned Luke Manders, solid quarterback. Aiden Paquin, the kid who returned the kickoff back to the hizzy, he might be the most dangerous kickoff returner in the conference. And they got other weapons too there. JT Hill, Griffin Amthor, and so I mean there's a lot of skill in Wildcat country you got to worry about.
Okay, Gary, you want to add anything there? Or, I mean,
Just real quick, it was a big game as far as playoff implications. I mean, Dundee being D5, they can't afford to lose games like this. They have a lot of tough games coming up on the schedule. We're talking Ida, Hudson, and the like. So, boy, Dundee could not afford to lose us. On the other hand, Onsted, huge win. They have the same schedule basically, but that win right there for Onsted is a big step into getting them into the playoffs. And now Dundee's probably going to have to upset some folks to get in.
yeah, I think you're right there. So, all right, well, let's jump into our week 4 games and let's go right to the SEC Red. And I hope I got all these records right. I was zooming through things today. 2-1, Ann Arbor Pioneer travels to 1-2 Bedford, the Kicking Mules. Frank, what do you think here?
Well, both teams are coming off of losses where they gave up at least 50 points. I mean, Bedford got thrown to a wood chipper by Dexter. Although I had to give a shout to my little cousin Caden Eishen for having a pick 6 in that game. Pioneer got drubbed 50-0 by Saline. This one, I'm gonna have to go Pioneer here because I think this is a show me game for Bedford. You gotta show me that your defense can get over giving up 59 points and get a win. But I'm leaning Pioneer in this one. Hate to do it, but it is what it is.
Okay, Gary, how about you?
I'm taking Bedford. They can win this game, and they need to get off their rears if they're we're talking playoffs already in week 4, but all these with only 9 games, they all matter week 1 to week 9. This is one of the games on the schedule that I think you're hoping to have a really good chance to win, and they need it. So I'm going to pick Kicking Mules.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bedford as well. And I'll say home field advantage, and they win by 1. How about that? So, all right, let's stay in the SEC Red. 3-0 Saline at 1-2 Monroe. Gary, thoughts here? Trojans got a chance, or?
No, I think this is one of Saline's better teams in the last handful of years, if not more. They're really, really good. And, Monroe's just not on their level, and there's just no other way to put it. I think the Hornets win this one pretty easily.
Okay, let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but could Monroe be better? I'm trying to
The
figure
program?
Monroe out. Just, I can't figure out why Monroe can't be great in football. They used to be great in football.
Yeah, they had some good years. They were good back when I was in school with Willie Jones and all those boys. Um, you know, I think it's a whole institution issue.
Yeah.
I'd have to dig really deep into that. But I don't know. I don't know if they take it as serious as some schools. Say Saline. I think Saline is they take football very seriously. If they were to go 4-5, they might shut the school down. So
Right.
I don't know if Monroe's quite that way. But I think they have the right coach in place. It's just a hard task. It's a hard task, and they have a couple 2-3 games on that schedule that you really just can't win unless you're on that level. And they're not yet.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think they got the right coach in place as well.
Mhm.
Frank, what do you think here? Give us your thoughts.
I mean, I give Kyle Reed the same endorsement as well. I think he's a good coach. He's good for the program. The problem is Celine's just on another planet. I mean, don't get me wrong, Monroe's got some nice players. I mean, we mentioned Tanner Collette, Jackson Jones, but how about Keanu Snavely? I think that's a name we need to start keeping an eye on as well. He scored both touchdowns for the Trojans, and he had the game-winning 2-point conversion as well. But it's not going to be enough this week. I'll take Celine to win big.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Celine here as well. And just real quick, more thoughts on Monroe. I mean, think about it. Not too long ago, Dexter was entrenched in a long, long losing streak, and they've turned things around. I think it has to be a decision uh, at the administrative level that we're really going to make this happen, and then you kind of go from there. And so, it'd be nice to see Monroe really turn things around. I think it'd be healthy for our blog, probably. But
Well, I think it's a parental thing as well. The parents got to get involved. The parents got to be as involved as the players are, and have the support of the program. Not that they don't, um, to a point, but I think there could be more. Let's put it
yeah,
that way.
yeah, fair. Okay, all right. Let's jump to the Tri-County Conference. We got 1 and 2 Eagles of Erie Mason traveling down to Toledo to play 3 and 1 Ottawa Hills. Frank, what do you think here?
You guys remember what I said last week? The last time Erie Mason beating Ohio School was
75.
1985.
Oh,
That
Oh,
team
you're
happened to be
close.
Ottawa Hills,
You're
okay.
close, Chris.
but it won't happen this time around. I'll take Ottawa Hills to win pretty big.
How about you, Gary?
Ottawa Hills is a good football team. Mason is trying to rebuild. They have some nice players over there. Logan Gooden, I like Logan, but yeah, Ottawa Hills is an established program, and yeah, they're going to get the win.
I'm going to go with Ottawa Hills as well. All right, let's stay in the TCC. Let's go 2 and 1 Summerfield traveling to West Unity Hilltop. Let's go with you, Gary. Hilltop is 1 and 3. Thoughts?
I'm going to go with Hilltop in this. I rarely pick against Summerfield unless I just feel it's going to be lopsided, but I'm going to go with Hilltop. But you look in the Free Press, Summerfield's ranked. They have the wrong record. They have them at 3-0, but Summerfield's like 4th in the state Division 8 in the Free Press. So Mick loves his Bulldogs, but I'm going to go against them this week.
How about you, Frank?
I may have to tell Nick McCabe he needs to check the record. I'm still going Summerfield in this one. They did get Tyler Defoe back last week. I think that made a difference for him in their win over Whitmore Lake. It'll be a long road trip, but I think the Bulldogs get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Summerfield as well. I think they have a good team. I don't know if they're, should be ranked in Division 8, but I think they have a really good football team, and I think they'll win this game.
Excuse me.
Oh, all right, let's go to Downriver League, 3-0 Carlson, 0-3 Wyandotte Roosevelt. A little surprised that they lost to Edsel. I'm going to pick this for us, Carlson, right? Unless you got a fact you want to give us, Frank.
Well, Three of Carlson's 5 wins all time against Wyandotte have come in the last 3 years. I think that just shows that Wyandotte's program has fallen off a cliff, sadly, but I will take the Marauders to win big. No Isaiah Wright, no problem.
Okay. All right, let's go over to the LCAA. 0-3 Hillsdale at 2-1 Ida. Gary, did the Blue Streaks get healthy here?
Absolutely. They're not happy with that loss, and I dropped them down from number 2 in the state to number, I want to say 10, 9 or 10. Yeah, they want to get back to their winning ways. I think Hillsdale's in big trouble.
How about you, Frank?
Kind of similar with Carlson and Wyandotte. Ida only has 5 wins against Hillsdale all time. 3 have come in the last 3 years. I mean, Hillsdale is another program that's dropped off too. Gary, I don't know if you knew they have a different coach there now since Lemmerhand retired. But I think Ida wins and wins big. Hillsdale, pun not intended, is the one that's walking into the Hornets' nest.
Okay, I'll go with Ida as well. All right, here's a game. I staying in the LCAA. I think this is going to be a great game. 1-2 Dundee at 2-1 Adrian Madison. What do you think, Frank?
I actually got to look at Adrian Madison in the scrimmage earlier in the year, and I was a little bit surprised that Madison's not running the single wing because I know Scott Gallagher, their coach, is a single wing guy. But I think he's had to adjust for the personnel he has, and he's got some athletes there. Brian Dopp, his quarterback, is a nice guy. Jalen Borders is a really good wide receiver they have. But Dundee, here's a stat for you. Their loss to Onsted last week was their 7th loss by 1 score since 2021. But I think I think this is the week that Dundee bounces back. I'm calling another big game from Joey Brink. I'll take Dundee to win a game that's somewhat close.
How about you, Gary?
Yeah, I think Dundee wins. Madison's beat some bad teams. But this will be a show me week if you're Gallagher and Adrian Madison. But I think the Vikings take this one.
Okay, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go Adrian Madison here. I think it'll be a close game. I'd like the Vikings to win, but I'm going to go with Adrian Madison. All right, let's go over to the Huron League. 3-0 Flat Rock Rams at 0-3 Jefferson. Can I call this just Flat Rock? Frank, you got a fact?
Well, yes, I do, Chris.
When's the last time Graham Youngie threw 3 interceptions?
Didn't he have
that I don't have.
Yeah.
Last week.
Really?
Yeah,
well.
That's why the game was close. That's why the game was close, folks.
Here's the stat for you. Flat Rock has only allowed 20 points this season. That is their lowest total through 3 games since 1989.
That's a good stat.
So, I mean, it's not just Graham Youngie doing all the cooking. The defense is really good for the Rams too.
Yep, I would agree there. So, okay, all right, we're all going with Flat Rock there. Let's go 0-3 Grozeal at 1-2 Milan. I think this could be a good game. Gary, what do you think?
I haven't seen the Big Reds play, but I have seen Grozeal play. A lot of youngsters on the field for Grozeal. A lot. Every time I will call a kid's name out, or Grow and I would call a kid's name out, I look down at the roster and he had a 10 next to his name. So they're young. I think Milan wins because of that. They're probably a bit more mature as far as grade level and whatnot. So I'm gonna go with Milan, but like I said, I haven't seen him play, but I'm gonna go with Milan.
How about you, Frank?
I've got 2 power stats for you guys. Grozeal has to cross more sets of train tracks than points they've scored this season for this game. And the points they scored this season is only at 6. This is actually their lowest total through 3 games, going back to 1950. I did the research on this. The only other times where they were at single digits through the first 3 weeks, 1967 and 1968, which were 9 points and 8 points. So there's a lot of struggles on the island, and I am going to go with the Big Reds. I think we'll see a nice game from CJ Fairbanks.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Milan as well. I think you're right. I think Milan's just a little bit better team. I think Crozier's just a little down.
And by the way, Grossio has to cross 11 sets of train tracks, for those wondering.
Wow, that's a lot. Gosh. All right,
But we have to throw that one out here every year.
yeah. Let's go 3-0 SMCC at 0-3 Airport. Frank, thoughts here. Can the Jets, who I know they just can't stand the Falcons, and I know the Falcons don't like the Jets either. Can Airport give them a game?
Well, after I read you this power stat, you tell me. SMCC has reached 107 points for scored this year, here through 3 weeks. That mark was not reached until week 7 last year. And a lot of that is due to the hog volleys up front, who were our player of the week this week. You could probably read off all those guys. I don't have them in front of me right now. But I will take the Falcons to win, and hopefully there will be no post-game shenanigans.
Okay. Gary, any truth to the rumor that you guys got the good press box to do your call from this week over there at Airport?
The ball diamond press box?
Yes.
Is that the good press box? I've never been in it. Yes.
Better than it being on the track.
Yeah, we're not. They didn't put us in the track. I called early enough, and hopefully, the athletic director there, he said we could have it. So yeah, we're in the baseball press box.
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
The Falcons gonna win here?
I sure hope so. Yeah, they lost 2 in a row to Airport. They've looked better than Airport this year, so I think you'd have to be a loon to pick Airport, but I'm just being honest. But going by the scores and whatnot. But yeah, I know Airport's going to come ready, but I know the Falcons will be ready too. Frank talked about the post game shenanigans. Yeah, we'll keep the flag at our school. We won't bring it to Carlton. Falcons win.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Falcons as well. And while we're at it, Airport, that would make 4 losses in a row. I'm going to say that they are going to flip the script after that and win 4 straight going into their last game of the year. Just a hunch. So, anyways, just throwing that out there. All right, we got another game in the Huron League. 1-2 Huron at 3-0 Riverview. Gary, did the Chiefs have a chance here at all? I mean, you've seen the Chiefs. I've seen the Chiefs. Riverview's Riverview. What do you think?
Riverview just doesn't beat themselves 99% of the time. That's the problem when you play Riverview. You just know they're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to commit silly penalties a lot. They're not going to turn the ball over. So in order, when you play a team like that, you got to beat them. You got to go out there and take the bull by the horn. I just don't think Huron is ready yet to do that. Maybe next year. As they mature as a group, but I think Riverview is just too tough.
Frank, how about you?
Well, Riverview's coming off of scoring a 60 burger or 60 pizza roll against Jefferson. The last time they did that in the Huron League game was 2020 against Grosse Ile. And also, 7 points allowed for the first 3 games is the lowest since 1981 for the Pirates. I'll take the Pirates to just keep on rolling. I don't know what they're going to serve up this week, but they're going to be cooking something good.
Okay, I'm going to go with Riverview as well. And I just think they're too good right now. So, all right, that would lead us up to, I think that's everybody except our Remax Masters game of the week.
Besides Remax, let's get our other.
Yeah, throw them out there, man.
Yeah, Cakes by Stephanie.
Yes.
Thanks, Frank.
Get your
excited.
Get your cookies, get your cupcakes.
Yeah, that's it. Bedford Septic and Sewer, right? Yes.
Yep.
There we go. Thank you to our sponsors, and give them a call if you support high school football as they do, and you have a need in any of their specialties. Please give them a call. Please consider them.
Yeah, for sure.
And Remax LeBeau.
Remax Masters.
Buying or selling a house. There you have it. Remax LeBeau team.
The LeBeau team. So our Remax Masters game of the week is the Bobcats of Whiteford, 2-1, traveling to 4-0 Edon. I don't know what's their nickname, Frank.
The Bombers.
The Bombers. I actually looked at going to this game because my team plays tomorrow night, and that's a long ways away from Waltz, Michigan. So I'm not going to be going there. But anyways, so they're playing the Bombers. Frank, give us some stuff on this game. What do you think?
Well, I believe this is the third meeting all time between both schools. They've split, the home team winning, and also the winner has scored at least 50 points both times. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen this time around because I only know Eden's undefeated, but I really don't know who they played, who their personnel is. I mean, Whiteford, they're coming off a big road win at Buchanan. Trey Eitner had himself a big game. I will go with the Bobcats to win a close one, on late, and watch. They'll probably win in a blowout, and I'll probably catch a lot of crap from some of their fans, but I'll take Whiteford to win.
How about you, Gary?
I'm going with the Ohio schools. That's what I'm going with. They're going to beat Whiteford, beat Summerfield, beat Mason, and they're going to beat Whiteford as well. For you 10,000 Maniacs times, it's our time in Edon.
Edon?
It's Eden, not Edon.
Even better.
Eden.
Our time in Eden for you 10,000 Maniacs fan. Eden, I think Eden pulls this game, and I think it could very well be a very high scoring game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bombers as well. I think I think they have a good program down there. I don't, Whiteford's very good, but they're not where they've been. So I think Edon or Eden wins this game. So.
Well, you guys do know that in Ohio, the Cleveland area thinks they're the best in high school football, and they don't recognize anything to the west of Sandusky.
Well, they're full of shit. So how about that? Oh, sorry. Come on. Who cares?
Well, there are some that would agree with you there, Chris, but I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah. So hey, I've been thinking about this, and I have a philosophy. So people have been, GI or Groseal doesn't have a lot of kids, and they're kind of young, and Jefferson's obviously young with those seniors. I think Milan's youngish, and they don't have quite the players. And people have been asking, what's up with the participation? And I have a little bit of philosophy on this, and I think it goes back to the pandemic. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think the seniors of this year, the class of 2025, were in the 8th grade when their football season in 2020 would have been played. And I think a lot of middle schools just didn't have football. And I think some kids missed out. And, that might just be me grasping, but I really think you missed out on some of the development that kids get at a young age. And some kids just decided not to play. They weren't as good. We've kind of had some attrition along the way. I think you might have seen that at some of these schools in and around the state. I mean, some of the teams we play are really, really light on seniors for whatever reason. I mean, even Erie Mason doesn't have a lot of seniors this year. So thoughts on that, guys? Am I reaching, or what do you think?
I definitely think it's reasonable. I mean, if they weren't able to play in 8th grade, they're probably thinking, you know what? What's the point of continuing on if I don't play here? But I mean, there are those who say, you know what? I'm gonna, even though I didn't get to play, I'm gonna keep trying, and because I love this game so much that I want to make sure I finish my high school career on a high note.
All right, Gary, how about you? Any thoughts?
Well, the programs that didn't cower to Gretchen may be stronger right now than the ones that did. Maybe, I don't know. I don't have the stats on any of that, but it's possible. But I've never heard of a program not having an entire class on a football team of a school with 500 kids. It's pretty wild. And in order to have such a wild occurrence, something wild probably had to happen. And maybe you're right.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go, guys. That wraps up the show. We're going to cut a little short this week, but there's our picks. As always, we appreciate you watching in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you would, and tell as many people as you can about FridayNightVictors.com. I'll give you guys a chance to say some goodbyes. Frank, any final parting thoughts?
I'm looking forward to week 4, and also the Bird Bowl is this week over in Zeeland. Zeeland West, Zeeland East, Ducks and the Chicks. That one is for a friend of the blog, Joey Jarmo.
Gary, how about you?
He's a Riverview fan too. He likes the T. He doesn't like the T out of SMCC, but he likes the T Riverview in Zeeland. 5 weeks away, 35 days. Baby Ryan, it will maybe make her appearance. We're hoping. That would be during the Country Day SMCC week. So we'll see when she comes, but we're excited.
Oh, awesome. All right. Yeah, I'm still deciding where I'm going to go to a game on Friday. I might venture down to the city and see Martin Luther King play Cass Tech at Cass. A good buddy of mine, Grosville basketball coach, Derek Jackson. His son plays for Cass Tech. He's a commitment to Kent State, so I might go down there and see them play. I was talking to him a little bit today.
Was it true that Cass Tech's field is only 96 yards long?
No, they fixed that a while ago. I think that's an old wives' tale. Something like that.
I mean, I just remember hearing about that their field was not 100 yards in length, so I just wondered if that was actually true.
Yeah, no, it was at one time, but they figured it out. So, all
Good.
right, everybody, that's the show. So for Gary and Frank, I'm Chris Schultz, FridayNightVictors.com.